What's going on, everybody? It's Josh, aka the Muslim Muscle, coming at you with another Next Up podcast. Talk to him.
It's your boy, Cousin Creamy, coming at you with our special guest of the week, Mr. Zan.
Up, guys? What's going on? Where did this
Man,
cousin
introduce
creamy thing
yourself,
come
man.
from?
The
Your
what?
boy.
I got to
Oh,
hear this cousin creamy thing first before I even say who the hell I am. Where the hell did creamy come from?
well, Colin is of the Caucasian descent.
Oh,
So,
as
so
hasty as
when
it
we
gets.
started, yeah, when we started making these
Okay.
creamies, it was Colin, cousin, synonyms or alliteration, and then cousin creamy
I
just
like
was
it.
born.
I
And
like it.
also, it's a little perverted, so kind of works out.
It aligns. It aligns. Yeah, I guess I'll do my little intro. My
Yes,
name's
sir.
Zan Carver, otherwise known as the Wall Street Bodybuilder.
Boom.
That's about all you need to know.
Lovely.
All right, where you still live in Jersey or do you live in New York now?
Yep. No, I'm in Jersey, but I'm right on the Hudson River, so I just ferry into the city every day.
He gets chirped on TikTok every single day of how he can't afford the city and lives in Weehawken or Hoboken.
Wow.
Yeah. If they saw my credit card and how much money I spend on this rent, they would say the total opposite. But at least I don't have a shoebox for the amount of money I spend, you know?
Exactly.
You know? It's
True.
a lot of the same pricing, but you get more bang for your buck.
I mean, the view from your walk out of your apartment every day is pretty fantastic. I think I'd pay for just that view alone.
Priceless, man. It's priceless. That's how I start the day. I love it.
Is that an Iron Culture shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I just came from there.
I drove by there. I was going to pick up a piece of equipment somewhere in Jersey, and I drove by there, and I was like, "That looks like it's a cool gym." It also looks like I'd be spending an arm and a leg to go there. I'm just gonna stick with my own gym. So
Well, I think it's a little bit far for a gym for you, but
no,
A little bit.
hey,
yeah, we'll make it happen someday. I got to come down there,
if you
train
ever
with you.
come, I will take care of your day pass. You are more than welcome to
Look at
come
that.
Ooh,
catch a lift. Yeah.
ooh, that was a big one right there. Fuck yeah! All right, let's get into it, Colin. Shoot off the hip. Let's get it.
So basically, a little backstory. Me and Zan, when I was living in Jersey City, I signed up at Iron Culture, what we were just talking about. And I would see him every so often. We got to the point of talking, started lifting a bit together. He was a small part of my first prep and a huge part of my second prep. From that point, we got very close with one another, very personable, really developed a really good friendship and became a huge backbone. In the last week of my prep, this past time going to Universe, I crashed on his couch because I was living the life of a nomad. So thank you, Zan, for all that you've done for me and continue to do for me. But essentially, he's going to be a lot different in the aspect of bodybuilding. He loves bodybuilding. This is his thing, but business and finance and everything within his career field is also a thing. So it's more so the idea of your work-life balance. So essentially, for you, you travel a lot, you party a lot, but at the same time, you're able to get in the gym and bust your ass every single time. How hard is it for you to really balance the life of what you do, the life that you live, and the life of a bodybuilder?
Yeah. A good way to start. And that you're always welcome on my couch. Wherever my couch is, it's also your couch.
My man.
Yeah, and especially when
That's
you're
the way.
dying on prep. Which is where I thought the cousin creamy thing came from, because this man was doing creamies on prep. And he actually, because he was staying at my place and I only had 2 pints, he ordered another 2 pints off of Amazon to leave at my apartment so that we had enough for the both of us at the same time. And then he just left them as like a parting gift. He was like, "Yeah, thanks for letting me stay. Here's the other 2 pints." To have them. But yeah, I guess like it's funny. I've always loved like fitness and bodybuilding, which kind of came out of being a college football player and just a lifetime athlete. And I've always just kind of loved having something competitive. It grounds me. It allows me to express myself, allows me to put a lot of energy into something that I'm passionate about. But yeah, my whole other side of my life and majority of my 24 hours in a day goes towards, my Wall Street job, working in finance, and that also entails entertaining clients and networking and traveling and yeah, a little bit of alcohol here and there. And, I also like to enjoy my life. I'm more of a expressive free bird, so to speak. So I kind of sign myself up for, whatever the wind blows my way. So, I was down in Miami for Art Basel the beginning of this month, and I was still training at 6 in the morning. I was getting on my laptop at 8 in the morning, working until the market was closed, and then putting on a sports jacket and going out till 1 in the morning and wake up the next morning and do it all over again. Maybe a little bit short on sleep, but still getting my meals in, getting my training in, and then, trying to apply pressure to all the things that I'm doing in life because it's fun. I like just maximizing shit. So that's my life. And we'll see what bodybuilding does for me. And it's already introduced like a bunch of awesome opportunities and just good people and good energy in my life. Whether I'll be the best bodybuilder in the world is very slim to none. And how competitive I could get my physique to is up to chance. It's more so how I compound all these efforts, right? But I find it as a way to express myself, and a way to keep myself competitive and then continue to develop who I am as a person, right? It's all the aspects. It's the physique, it's the mentality, it's the emotions and the heart. It's your Rolodex of skill sets that you have in your life that allow you to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it's something where obviously when you push out to um, you know, your following because recently this past year you've gained a substantial following comparative to, there was a period in time where you I wouldn't say you gained popularity, but unwanted attention for some not such great things happening to your body, essentially when dabbling with some foreign substances. Essentially, hypothetically speaking, if we're all bodybuilders here.
We
But,
don't do drugs.
And that
there,
was that I'll interject on that. I mean, when I made that video about what had happened to my skin, this is for context, I had a horrible bout with cystic acne. And that was only after going on TRT, which I was prescribed by a doctor because I had very low testosterone as a 23-year-old. So obviously abnormal to, wake up one day and you feel like you can't sleep, you're entirely fatigued. You go to a doctor and you get your blood work done, and you have 63 total nanograms per deciliter test. That's not normal, right? That was dieting, that was drinking alcohol, that was lack of sleep, and that was my message, right? It's like I did this to myself. Then I went on TRT to try and reverse it, which a lot of people go for. It's very popular, right? And so I tried to be the contrast, like look what can happen if you're stupid about it. And a video with 500,000 views that went viral that Greg Doucette and More Plates, More Dates had their fun with, and created some content around. And I think it was more of like a warning shot, right? Like let's let all the 18 to 24-year olds Tom Goblins know what they could do to their body if they mess with compounds and gear. And I wasn't shy about sharing that, and I definitely took some heat on the internet for it. But like honestly, I think that's the type of callus that I create for myself in terms of whether people like me or they don't like me, because a lot of people, obviously are in my comment section not saying the nicest of things. I couldn't care less, right? And I think I earned that callus just by putting myself out there, being authentic, and trying to spread good message that, like, don't be stupid with your body, stay optimistic, and you can get through anything. And I think that's, I kind of earned that right that, like, listen, man, I've gone through some stuff and it was self-inflicted, but it doesn't mean it has to be the end, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because, to kind of piggyback with what you said, so you kind of put yourself out there, put yourself in a vulnerable position. But again, you want it to be real with those and kind of make a very informative, but also educational to a certain extent, message to those who could possibly do this to their own body and just a fair amount of warning signs, prescribed or not, from a doctor, from underground labs, whatever you want to call it. There are risk factors that you have to take into account for. And then even now for yourself building your brand, the Wall Street Bodybuilder, really pushing forth that your following has grown immensely. Again, whether it's viral videos, it's silly little reels that you make, whatever that you put out, it's something that's building towards your brand. And again, you have some people who interact with you who think you walk around the city and just take videos all day long and don't actually have a job. Um, there's a lot of things that you do, but the biggest thing is that what I've noticed, especially with you, since knowing you, is you're very real with who you are. And again, it's the content you push, is the content that you push is the person that you are. You're not someone who's completely different behind the camera. You're the same person on the phone as it is in person. So my question would be how oh, I would s- this doesn't really have to entail with my comment, but more so like for you balancing everything in total, and now it comes to content creation. How much of that does it take up to your day? Because again, you're busy with work, you're busy with the gym, busy with travel. When do you have time for the content creation?
Yeah, I mean, I I kind of package my days into little bundles, right? Like every couple hours has like a purpose, right? So like I'm in the office at 8 and I typically don't get out of there till 6 or 7. And those 10, 11 hours are dedicated to what I'm doing. But there's little pockets in the day where I'm able to, prioritize executing on something that's for my personal brand. Majority of my content that is on, TikTok or Instagram is shot for the 20 minutes that I'm walking across the city, So like I think taking little opportunities throughout my day to generate content, right? But that doesn't mean it gets posted the same day. Majority of my stuff's on delay, right? So if you see something posted on a Monday, it was probably shot the previous Friday, right? Or the previous Thursday. Like there are 3, 4 days lag on things that I'm posting. Now, if I'm posting stories, it's maybe a few hours delay, maybe it's the day before, right? So like I was at Iron Revolution on a Sunday and I posted all the workout on Monday, right? And then I had like 3 people say, like, "Are you here?" And I was like, "No, I'm not." But like, I don't know. I try to find little pockets in the day where like, you're making a meal, right? Or you're eating a meal. It's like, okay, I'm gonna draft something in CapCut. I'm gonna make a reel. It's like, when I was in Art Basel, I made 2 reels when I was down there, and they were the bigger days where there was a lot of content I could shoot. I didn't post those for like a week after, and I had to do the voiceover. And so that voiceover was done at like 10 o'clock at night after I got home, ate my meal, took a shower, just make the voiceover, go to bed. Next day it got posted. So like I think what I try not to do is distract my real purpose, my job of like working on client work and being involved in the market, with the social media stuff that's all on the perimeter. Because at the end of the day, that's all BS stuff, right? That could all get done later. It's not the priority. The priority is my main job, what pays my bills, where my career is going to go for the next 30, 40 years. And that's the priority. So I just try to create content as I'm going through my day, right? Document the process, document the things I'm doing, document my life, and then, figure out how to cut it all up later on when I have some time, right? Laying in bed for a half hour, you could generate a ton of content, right? You could just like develop a bunch of different cuts and then, post it the following day. But everything's on delay. Like there's nothing in real time.
Fair.
So here's my
Mhm.
question. Obviously, they say, if a bodybuilder were to stop bodybuilding and apply that discipline to any other facet of their life, business, work, whatever it may be, that they'd
Mhm.
be intensely successful. Is there certain aspects that you took from, I'll say, your earlier bodybuilding, kind of before the fame? Because, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, where I first found out about you, other than Colin, was, I think, I can't remember what drink you had in your hand, but it was the first video I saw you doing it to a Jay-Z song, walking in the
Uh,
city, and I was like, the fuck is this?
That had to have been a
it's
monster.
I was
That
like,
had
what
to have
the
been a
fuck?
monster.
It
probably a
probably
monster.
was. But I was like,
Mhm.
what the fuck is this? And then it went super viral. And I was like, yo, this kid hit off of a goddamn video. This is awesome. But do you think the discipline that you've learned through bodybuilding, what allows you to kind of balance the Wall Street job, the bodybuilding itself, and the content, you set like non-negotiables for yourself? What's your process when it comes to that?
Yeah, I think obviously we all know as bodybuilders, right? And like having gone through preps, like the discipline you have to apply to your diet, to your training, getting cardio done, getting sleep, all those things is regimented, right? So when you get into that process and you develop that mindset of execution, you can apply that to anything, right? So I feel as though I'm better at my job and managing all of the variables, all of the people, right? Because I have to manage a lot of people. I have to be on constant offense, and so it's a lot, right? To be able to keep all those things in front of you and keep them sorted. It's the same thing as, okay, I have 6 meals I got to eat today, and I'm not going to be home at all. So how do I plan for that, right? So it's really just planning and execution. So, we all know as bodybuilders that, you could be out for an entire day. If you miss one meal, that'll throw you off entirely, right? So, or even if you're an hour or two late on a meal, that'll push your entire day out where you're up till midnight trying to finish off your meals. And so I think from that standpoint of just allocating time and being able to execute on a plan, that transfers over to business so effectively because I'm a much better person at work and in my career and in my relationships across the board because I'm better sorted mentally because I have to be disciplined as a bodybuilder. So I think there's a lot of correlations. That's why I find there's so many synergies between fitness and finance because your health and wellness is very applicable to your financial wellness, right? How disciplined are you with your budget? How disciplined are you with how you're spending or how you're investing, right? Everything we do as a bodybuilder is investing in our body, right? So it's the same way I see my personal budget, how I apply that to clients. So it's there's so many synergies between the two that I just feel as though I only develop a better routine and regimen for myself on both sides of my life, just because they both feed each other, even though they're totally non-correlated, right? There's no connection between the two.
I I feel like there is a little bit of a correlation between the two because obviously you wouldn't be able to afford bodybuilding if it wasn't for the finance job, and you also are, unless I'm completely misguided here, you are a coach as well, correct?
Mhm.
So like you
That
doing
part's
some
true.
coaching, as we know, with balancing the finances of the coaching, whether it's you're paying for an app, you're paying for some sort of software, whatever you're paying for on that side, and then money coming in, there is the financial implications of that. So I feel like they are sort of kind of cross correlated to where like your ability to understand your actual finance job is tied into your coaching, into your bodybuilding. So they all mesh in some way, shape, or form. With starting your actual coaching brand, have you found the because my mom worked in corporate finance for a very long time.
Mhm.
Um, the Excel sheets, the data tracking, the things of that nature. Has that allowed you to be a little better of a coach when it comes to the analytics side of it versus the face to face or not face to face, but screen to screen human connection aspect? Where do you find that you get the most out of where do you find the most benefit in both sides? Is the content and the social media what drives your human to human connection, or is it the financial side allows you to be more analytical in making decisions? Or do you feel like the two of those together have made you the type of person that you are now?
Yeah, I
Long,
mean
long
it's
question.
no, 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 but
Yeah, I was gonna say, holy fuck.
it serves a really good purpose, right? Because you can throw my main life objectives and the things I'm working on right now into three main buckets, right? Like I have my main job tied to the stock market in, corporate finance, whatever you want to call it, right? Then you have my fitness life, right? Like whether that's my own fitness or my coaching. And then you have my social media, right? My social media allows me to connect everybody within these buckets, allows me to both express myself and to teach and connect with people, as well as it feeds back people to, the main job and then the fitness and coaching, right? And for me, yeah, like being able to navigate a spreadsheet obviously helps me in developing plans and being thoughtful about how I deliver a plan, right? And how do I, create a better scenario for somebody. And I work all the time, right? So I know what it's like to try to formulate a fitness plan for somebody who's got a really busy schedule, who's just sitting there all day eating meals and goes to the gym for 2 hours and comes home and lays down, right? So I know that like there's a little bit more nuance to figuring how to make a plan fit somebody's lifestyle. So I think, yeah, obviously the skill of finance applies to the coaching, but it's also the living the life and understanding how that rhythm develops and trying to help package that in a way that's digestible for somebody. So that's where Savage in a Suit was born, right? So everything I do is the thought of I just want to be a savage in a suit, right? How do I do that? How do I sharpen that sword? How do I develop the best physique possible? How do I develop that mindset? How do they carry over? Right? I go train in the morning at 5 a.m. I'm up. My mental clarity is a lot higher, right? And then I put the suit on, and then all day long that carries through. How I attack the weights in the gym that morning carries over to how I attack every task throughout the day. And so I try to apply that to my coaching and the mentality to the clients that I work with. It's like, listen, like regardless of where you are in your journey, it's about the mentality that you bring. You can always get better at every skill, right? Get better at a certain lift, right? Developing better cues to connect better with it. You can always get better at your job, right? And the way that you generate income. And all of those things can be developed at once as long as you're putting in daily deposits, you know? So I find there's a lot of synergies in that way. Like I try to create a bundled coaching strategy for someone that lives my style of life so that they can become the best version of themselves. But yeah, there's a lot of connection between the skills I've developed at work and how I manage my own coaching business to how I actually coach and apply that to somebody who lives a similar lifestyle.
Well, yeah, it was definitely watching all of your content, watching because I had a couple of friends turn around and start in the trading field. Like that's an all day thing. I don't know how you balance it. I commend the hell out of you for balancing that, the coaching, the social media, and going to the gym because I think knowing me and my own rant, I wouldn't do any of the things other than just work the job and move forward with my life. So commend you for balancing all of that first and foremost. I know Colin has a question brewing. I could see it in his face, so I'm gonna let him shoot.
No, I really wasn't. I didn't really have anything like specific going up there. You were just going on your thing, so I was letting you rock out.
All right, cool. Well, then at the end of the day, when you look at everything in your life, your sphere, obviously we know what is priority. But when it comes to your actual coaching and your clients, when you say, being a savage in a suit, turning around and making somebody hit their peak performance, what have you found to be the biggest things that allow for your people to excel in their life? What's their background? What's their background that you push forward the big rocks that you turn over in the first month or so to make them start making the changes they need to?
So, I mean, I would find that majority of the clients that excel and do well are people who have athletic backgrounds who were athletes at some point in their life, right? Because it's about turning on that cue in their head, right? Of being able to be regiment, right? And be attentive about everything they do. And I think what really converts them into this really good rhythm with their routine and where they start to see real progress is at the point at which they simplified the process. That's why like every plan that I write is while it's strategic and there's nuances to it and I put a lot into it, I try to make it in layman terms and simplified as possible. I don't want them to think at all, right? Like I'm not asking people to macro track and do a bunch of numbers in their phone and all day long be distracted by that. Like I want to set a plan that's in rhythm and aligned with what they're doing so that we can make it as easy as possible, right? So like when I go into the office, I don't track anything. I'm not like plugging numbers into a MyFitnessPal or anything like that. I'm bringing Ziploc bags of the 5 things that I got to eat today, right? It's like rice, potato, turkey, beef, and a vegetable, right? And I just say, okay, here are the quantities you're going to eat during the day. Keep these things in the office, like olive oil, almond butter, oatmeal, frozen fruit. You just keep those things in the office. They don't got to move, right? And so you just bring the fresh stuff with you, right? And then you just develop your meals throughout the day as you find times in your day, right? And once I get somebody to simplify the process, make it that easy, set themselves up, keep a scale and keep like the non-perishable foods in the office, those people just start to get into this rhythm where they're dropping weight like crazy, right? And they get super, super disciplined with the process because it's like it's a good routine and there's not a lot of like variables. I'm not asking them to go buy a bunch of stuff. I want it to be as digestible as possible. So I think simplify the process, make it very straightforward, and then turn on that athlete mentality of all you gotta do is get this done, right? Like, it's like showing up to practice. Like you know what the different drills you're gonna do during that day are, and you just have to find the time for them. And everybody gets into a good rhythm at that point. And then from a training perspective, I try to keep it as simple with that too. It's like, listen, I just want you to do these 5 or 6 movements. You're going to do 2, maybe 3 sets, maybe usually 2 sets, top set, back off set type of style. Once I teach people that type of straight training strategy, Colin knows, like if we're doing anything more than 2 sets on an exercise, we're wasting our time. And the people I'm coaching don't have a ton of time, right? So like, let's make the most out of 60 minutes by teaching intensity, right? And so I have people sending me videos of their training because I want to teach them top end intensity. Like you had another 5 reps in there, go back and do it again. right? And so the next week, I find that they will start to get closer to that red line, right? And like teaching people how to train with real intensity. And we're not in the gym 6 days a week, 4 or 5 max. And once I've developed that mentality within their head, like the progress just comes. They're able to make the most out of the limited time they have.
Great points. For to, Colin probably felt this one coming when it comes to top set, back off set. Have you found that you make more progress with more volume or less volume? You personally.
Depends on the body part, depends on the face. I
Thank
think
God.
that's yeah. It's not like a one, and it's not one size fits all, right? Like a lot of people
Yeah.
are not very strong, right? So if you don't have a ton of strength to begin with, are you going to get a lot out of only doing 8 reps, right? Because the mechanical tension isn't really there to develop that type of real stimulus, right? So I have to teach somebody how to generate that stimulus and get strong over time before we can start leveraging top set, back offset. And also, like your legs are not going to perform the same way your bicep is. So why are we going to pretend that a squat is the same as a bicep curl? It's not, right? We can get a lot out of a squat in one set or 8 to 10 reps if we're going to failure a lot more effectively than we can get out of a bicep curl for just one set of 8 to 10 reps, unless that person is really good at engaging the bicep. My arms suck. My arms take a lot more volume, and they're coming up, but it's because I've learned how to engage them. But that took time with training with volume, right? And then you rotate that, right? At some point, you're going to hit a wall, and you're not going to get any stronger, and CNS and fatigue are going to catch up, and you have to back off, and you have to do more volume and take a bit of load off. And I think that's just getting better and smarter about being in the gym, right? And rotating your focus through phases.
I want to backtrack a little bit. Where'd you play ball at?
Played football at Salve Regina University, the small school in Rhode Island nobody's ever heard of, but I loved it.
I've heard of it.
Okay,
When did you graduate?
2019.
We played against each other.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Bryant. I Our
Oh,
JV team came down there, and I was fresh off an ACL surgery, and I had to prove that I could get back on the field.
uh,
I was not sober during that game, but I was there. I was
Lovely.
definitely there.
oh,
So
that's great. What
I
year
had
did you
this weird feeling.
graduate?
2019.
Oh, this is funny. We definitely played against each other.
Small
Yeah,
fucking world.
Yeah.
yeah. I Something about it clicked when you said it. I was like, wait a second, I recognize him way more now. All right, that makes sense. Cool.
What'd you play? What position did you play?
Linebacker.
Okay. Well, we never had to bang heads because I was playing linebacker too, but that's hysterical.
Yeah, I had this weird feeling you looked way too recognizable for me. Sorry, Colin, you're the only one in this position that
Eh.
you would have been the ball, not the actual on the team. But it's whatever.
All right, well,
Uh,
it's been another episode. Go fuck yourself,
I
Josh.
had to take that shot. There was
So
no way I couldn't.
anyway, yeah, kick rocks. Anyway, so more towards the personal life of Zan, personal bodybuilding life of Zan. Obviously, you did a prep. You got fucking peeled beyond fucking belief. You, to put it bluntly, were a very small human being.
mhm.
Now, you've been building for 2 years or upwards of two
Yeah.
years now.
Yeah. It's been a
When,
year and a half. It'll be 2 years by
yeah,
the time I do it again.
I was gonna say, when is the next time Zan steps on stage, if that's in the cards?
Yeah. So we'll step back. I mean, uh, that prep was the first time I ever experienced getting ready for a show, right? So 2023, we put in 15 weeks and 17 weeks, adding the two for the last show. And I stepped on stage the first time at 162 pounds. I mean, I lost 15 pounds in the last 3 weeks. We got peeled. I lost a lot of size. And, I lived life at 240 when I was in high school. I was a bigger boy. And then, during college, I came down to like 190, started that prep at 195, got down to 159 at my lowest, which was obviously way too low, right? It just kind of happened fast. Body ran away from me.
Yeah,
Metabolism was ripping, was doing over an hour of cardio a day. We had to start experimenting with like higher fat foods. And that started to work, right? So like I stepped on stage at 169, the second show 2 weeks later. I'm 208 this morning. Goal is to get to 215 by the end of January. If I can eke out another 7 to 10 pounds, I think I'm in a good spot. I still keep abs. I'm not nearly as lean as I want to be, but I'm on the leaner side. That's majority because I'm in such a good rhythm with my diet. Hopefully, we can compete in June. So I'd shoot for June. Um, you obviously know there's Atlantic states and Garden states. I think Garden states is reasonable.
Mm.
Um, but if we're not there in January, I don't think I will compete in 25. I have too many things going on personally, like weddings, bachelor parties, people I got to be there for. You know how it is. I've traveled and been on, I've prepped on a bachelor party. It's not fun. You spend a lot of money to be there and you partake in almost none of it. You spend an hour training, you spend, 30, 45 minutes on some type of cardio machine. You don't drink an ounce of alcohol. You tap out and go to bed at 11, 11:30, wake up the next morning, do it again, 3, 4 days. It's not worth it. I might do that once in May and still compete in June. But if it's after that, I have too many other things going on and I have traveled for work. It's a lot, right? So that's why I always tell people, like, I've had people ask me, I want to try a bodybuilding show. I want to prep. And I said, it's really only worth it if you can allocate those months. Because if you can't properly prepare for a show, and feel like you can actually be competitive, while it's a great experience, like it's got to make sense for the rest of your life. So we'll see. January, see where I'm at. If I'm big enough, if I put on enough size requisite to be more competitive than I was the last time. I came in fourth the last time. Not like I did horrible,
Mhm.
but I play to win, right? So that's where those 4 or 5 months have to be perfect
Yeah.
because I won't step on stage knowing that I missed a meal or that I was out late multiple nights in a row, that I drank any bit of alcohol. I won't do that. It's not worth it.
Yeah, and it's something where I have a lot of respect for, and or a lot of people and whoever listens to this, it's to take into account, those months that you have to allocate to a prep. It's you have to be mentally, financially stable on all levels. Because again, there's a huge commitment, and if you're not all in, you're all out. It's just to the point where it takes over your life at some points, and you have to make sacrifices that might hinder some of the things in your day-to-day life. But all things considered, if it's not a career you're really pursuing, there are times where people will end up, losing jobs and making stupid financial decisions when making a prep. So it's like for you, for being that, you have a lot going on in your life, if you're not there, you're not there, and you'll try again in 26 because right now all you have is time at this point.
Yeah. Listen, if I compete in June of 25, it may be the last time I'm on stage, right? The rest of my life is moving and I have progressed really well in my career and I never want to squander that, right? That's the primary focus. This whole bodybuilding thing is like a passion for me. I have true love for it. But I won't allow bodybuilding, a prep, to squander relationships and people that are important in my life and my career. And that's always the priority. But I'll use it as a vessel to develop me as a person so I can be better on all those things, right? So it's only in due time. It's due time. But I want to be effective at it, right? If it's only
Yeah,
one more time, I better be as best as I possibly can be because that's the only way to make it worth it. Play to win.
exactly.
You used a term earlier where you said something about, it was your callus. You, I think that bodybuilding and going into a prep, being in the monotony of it, allows for you to, that becomes just your default. And then you're able to build off of that. Do you think that that has also helped you advance in your career, helped you to having that baseline of like, all right, I eat my meals, I do this, I do that, and that's just your set goal is what allows you to turn around and kind of venture out into the content, into the, taking chances because that investments and at the end of the day, you got to take certain chances in order to make more money. So do you think that's allowed you to say like, all right, this is my baseline. These are the opportunities I'm willing to risk or the opportunities I'm willing to take.
Without a doubt. It's calculated risk, right? Like you make an evaluation on what you're about to decide to do. And you have to make that decision with a clear head, right? And so I think I also see how I've calloused my brain through going through prep, right? Like you know how it is when you have 50 minutes on the Stairmaster in front of you and you're about to get on, you're like, damn, like I'm about to do this, right? And halfway through you want to tap out. But it's being able to get through that 50 minutes or an hour piece of cardio equipment and not tap out and not sell yourself short, right? So it's like yesterday, I was in a workout and I had to handle another client situation. And I was 2 minutes into priming my shoulders before I did a heavy press. I was feeling really good. And I get a phone call, and client had a $200,000 issue we had to figure out. And it took me about an hour on the phone of getting it figured out. And I walked out of the little office I was in at the gym and went right back into my workout. And I was unfazed. I was almost more pissed off and excited to work out because I know that that threw me off, but that I could use that as fuel. And nobody else is going to go back into their workout after taking an hour off for a phone call. So I kind of earned my own piss and vinegar, like that callus. Like something might try to throw me off. I'm not going to let it, right? So it's like long hours in the office, doesn't matter. I earn the right to say I put the work in. And I think that's the cool thing about the different things I'm doing in my life is everything I do, I earn a little bit of a feather in my cap, right? And so then that's where I build my confidence. So the callus or the confidence, however you want to.
We had a little interruption, some technical difficulties, but we're back. So Zen, you were talking about how pretty much bodybuilding calluses the mind, makes you better able to reach out to other people. So we're back.
Yeah, to finalize that point and put a period on it, I think being able to go through a prep, being able to stay locked into a diet, being able to execute on training and cardio only better enabled me to be able to withstand like the volatility of the market, of my job, other people's drama, and the things that get thrown at you in a given day. And so you're just able to handle more because you understand it's not that bad. You're able to get through it, right? So I think there's a lot of translation between the mindset of a bodybuilder and somebody who's able to power through adversity and somebody who has to handle high pressure situations.
100%. I got to ask this question. What's your favorite thing to train?
Legs.
Great answer.
I
Great
love
answer.
training
So
legs.
next time Colin comes up this way, we got to all find a place to meet. If it's not ultimate, should be ultimate. But if it can't be ultimate, we'll find another way. And
Yeah, I want to come see your gym. I would love that.
yeah, absolutely. We'll have a day. I'm going to
That'll
be
be a
playing fantasy
fucking.
by Mariah.
That's the one thing I will say because the first time I ever trained with Zan, it was legs, and motherfucker put me in a goddamn casket.
That
And
seems to
not
be a
that
common
Colin has
trend.
bad legs.
Why?
I
That
was gonna.
that's a fact, but it seems to be a trend that the first time you train with somebody, you get put in a coffin.
Dude, I train like a bitch. We all know this. I'm just lucky.
Must be nice.
You're
Must
getting
be
more out
nice.
of less. You're getting
Oh
more out of less.
yeah, exactly. So what an investment.
Yeah, my body is broken at this point. So, great
It's all
time.
right. We're all fat and happy, soon to be skinny and fucking miserable.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I was saying doing gardens. If you wind up doing garden stays, that's the show I did last year. Um,
Yeah.
and we had a great time. And actually, I think you work with Kyle, right?
Yep.
So that was the second time I had ever seen Kyle, but that was also my first time competing, and I competed against Nick, who was
Oh,
somewhere
okay.
out by you
Oh
guys.
yeah,
So I know that's your boy or Colin's boy or someone's boy. But
Zan's boy.
yeah, so that's boy.
Yeah.
So
Nick,
Nick's
so I started working with Kyle in 2020. So he's been my coach since August of 2020, and he's one of my closest friends. And then I inherited Nick as my younger brother, who's a lot bigger than me, through Kyle. And so Kyle's now Nick's one of my closest friends.
cool.
And Nick has the stupidest genetics I've ever seen in my life. I mean, if he went full throttle bodybuilding, he wouldn't be stoppable. Besides his calves, he's got no calves, but
Most tall guys
That's,
don't.
yeah,
I was gonna say we're all sitting there with that problem. So
yeah, but no, it's cool. We have a lot of good people around us, and I think that's obviously the like the most important part is about this sport is the community that you build around it and the friends you make through it. I mean, I wouldn't know Colin unless we were both training at Iron Culture and training with purpose because that's where we created the synergy off the bat and how we became such good friends, right? So I feel very fortunate that I've been surrounded by such good people over the last 4 years since I started getting into fitness and then ultimately competing in bodybuilding. You know, you develop these relationships that last for a lifetime.
And I think that brings up two really quick, really good points. One is loyalty, staying with your coach for a long period of time. Or sometimes you can't stay with the coach because things happen, but like allowing it has easily made it it's made it easier for you to turn around and have that baseline that go back to because you understand how Kyle works, he understands how you work. You can set whatever changes he makes to your lifestyle. It makes it very easy, very simple to kind of just plug and play. Another thing is like when it comes down to the gym and forging relationships with other people, nobody will ever say that that guy who's dying over in the corner, who is absolutely just murdering himself on the machine, is not somebody that you look up to, you respect. And that mutual respect when you see somebody else going into a leg press set and, you know, quite literally the thing collapsing on top of them because they just couldn't do another one. You always look at that person and you're like, yo, at minimum, I'm going to say, hey, great set. If we're not going to be, best friends after the set. So, like, you turn around and,
Mhm.
like, there is that you're not going to hate somebody for going hard. You'll never hate somebody for pushing to that level. So,
You're
I think
you're
those are two things to just go off of.
you're not gonna hate someone who goes hard if you go hard because there's so much shit you catch in the gym where if you're even if like a loud grunt, people are like, it's like motherfucker, put a little bit of intensity in your workout. It's like I even get weird looks down here in the gym. Granted, I'm a complete asshole in the gym, but at the same time, it's like you get weird looks and it's like, you're training with intent and it's like sure, there are times where you kind of push past the limit and like, if you see in one of Josh's last TikToks, he screamed "fuck you" to the platform with the squat press. Um, Not going to dive into the many reasons why that came out, but anywho,
We have
um,
problems
but
on the
it's just
side.
there's there's many things that really come with
Mhm.
the side of training that we take it to, the intense training, the top set back off. There's a lot that comes to it. So again, it's
Hey,
there's different looks and different outlooks that people have. But again, as bodybuilders, the mental instability that we have on some aspect of our life kind of brings us all together as a family.
the mental instability. I like that. Or the self-loathing to put yourself through that.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Yeah, you got to hate yourself a little bit.
Hey, listen, I think there's a lot to be said for somebody who doesn't like where they currently are, and they're going to do everything they can with passion and vigor to get to the next level or to improve upon something, right? And I think that's what we all share upon is whether it's our physique or other areas of our life, right? We're always like driving progress. And then to your point, like when you see somebody training their ass off in the gym, I'll be the first one to say that there are probably a handful of people in every gym that look at me and that hate me right off the bat for the way I train and setting up my camera, like whatever it is. Like Colin, Rocco is one of the most old school
Oh my
bodybuilders
God,
in the state
dude.
of New Jersey. The guy's been competing for 20 years. The first week that I was in Iron Culture, I was filming a video with my buddy Gary for YouTube, and he we hadn't spoken a word to each other. I'm a new member, and he walks past me with his AirPods in, and he goes, "I haven't filmed a fucking workout in my entire life." And he's twice my size. He just mutters that under his breath, just talking shit. And now, like I'm wishing him a happy birthday yesterday. He's like, "Bro, I wish we could have caught up more. I'll see you in the gym tomorrow." He's like, he's one of my buddies now in the gym, but I earned that respect of him, an old school bodybuilder, just because of how I train. Right? He knows I'm a social media guy. I'm constantly taking videos, and like that's the opposite of his personality. He records absolutely nothing, and hates that side of fitness. But I earned his respect, and now he's a buddy of mine just because like he has mutual respect for me as somebody who trains hard, right? And I'm the first one to, halfway through a leg press set say, "Come on, bitch," right? So I'm yelling at myself, man. Like I don't want to bitch out on myself. I don't want to let myself out of the set before I know I've done everything in it. Colin knows that, and
Yep.
I'm certainly not trying to make myself quiet or hidden in the gym. But you mesh with the right people depending on what your personality is. I did not fit in at Equinox, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was a small stint on the social media aspect that I was seeing.
Yeah, it's like 3 months, and then I sent them my bank statement from my old bank account that still had my parents' address on it, and I said, "Yeah, I moved 25 miles plus away. Like, rescind my
Jesus.
membership. I want to cancel.
Fucking
This is
Smart.
the
Christ.
only way out of Equinox." I had to get out. I hated it.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, no, nobody's training hard there.
No. Well, Zen, it's been an absolute fucking pleasure, brother. I hope nothing but
Likewise.
I wish you nothing but the best. I appreciate you coming on. But that has been yet again another episode of the Next Up podcast, and we will catch you guys next week.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun shit. You know what it is. Peace.